All departments, conduct your final safety checks and report back to the bridge. Engineering, confirm reactor status and warp core integrity.
Engine is ready. Fasten your seatbelts, Commander. Entering warp in 3, 2, 1.
The bridge is all yours, Commander. Welcome to the command deck.
Hello guys, welcome. Hello guys, welcome. Oh my God, I always leave something on. Oh my God, I always leave something on. Okay, now ready. So here we are, one more day, another episode of this CommandDeck podcast, and we have something good for you today. We're gonna have fun. Let me check everything. Yeah. Okay, so first, let's introduce our special guest. You all know him. We have Santi, community lead of Star Atlas, with us. What's up?
Thank you,
How
sir.
are you?
Absolute pleasure to be here.
It's Santi.
Love the love the podcast, and I love what you guys are putting together. So happy to finally join.
Awesome. Great to have you here.
No alpha.
No, Alpha, don't say that. Don't say that, especially at the beginning. No. Now you have to give some alpha later.
I
now
talk
you
about in every
you
brew,
must.
man.
Okay, now after that we have Drum Carlos here with us too.
Hello. I'm here once again.
We have Solas. Hello, Solas. How are you?
Good. How's everybody doing? Glad to be here. Let's get some alpha.
Now we only need alpha. The rest we don't need that. PG, how are you?
I'm good. Happy to see Santi here with us for the first time and looking forward to chat for 2 hours today with Santi.
Awesome. And we have Yoganakt. What's up, Yoganakt?
Hello. Santi, welcome. So you're sipping coffee, you're ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Last coffee of the day.
This is like an after brew or something like that. After all the brews in the weekend we start this special CommandDeck podcast with coffee, with something to drink, with something to enjoy together and chat about Star Atlas. So let me say hello to the chat. We have a lot of people here already in the chat. First we have Shadix. Welcome, Shadix. He says, when alpha? Yeah, the first thing he said was good morning, and then when alpha. So Santi, do you feel the pressure already?
I can feel it.
Nice. That's the way. So Signos Murasaki, hi. We have some Spanish mates also. Bienvenidos, Signos Murasaki, Brujo, y bueno, cualquiera que nos esté viendo, amigos hispanos, bienvenidos. Y we have also Darwin here. Darwin, welcome. Let me check. We have more people here. This is important. People here in the chat. Yeah, Darwin is. Well, Darwin, you can give us some alpha if you have it also. So
Darwin doesn't know anything. We just keep him in the support dungeons. We don't give him no information.
That's not the way. Okay.
Just saving you, Darwin.
And we have Beyond the Horizon. What's up? Yeah. What's up, gang? Nice to have you here too. So awesome lineup existing here. Okay. Brujo, Drum Carlos, my man. Nice. This is the way. We have a lot of people and chatting, active in the chat. So who wants some alpha? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you want some alpha. We need to give Santi some motivation, We need to get him to talk here. Nobody's watching from the rest of Star
You need to send me
Atlas.
some wine beforehand. That's what you should do.
Okay, who has some wine to send Santi? Send it to him. Send it to him. Okay, so we're going to start. So yeah, Darwin seems to have some wine for. He's not saying that, but I can feel it. Some wine for Santi. Santi, get ready to give us some alpha.
He has been visiting Argentina, Darwin. I've been showing him around. We had asado on the weekend.
Oh, that's
Big
nice.
asado. Yeah,
So
he
it
lived
was
the
this
full
week.
Argentinian experience.
That
This
that
weekend.
was this weekend. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Nice. Wine on the way from Stick too. Oh, welcome Stick. Especially if you bring wine for Santi.
Only on a date with Stick.
Stick failed
Only.
me today again, but okay.
Only if there's candles as well with the wine.
So yeah, let's get started. So, uh,
Let's go.
hey, so first thing I would ask about the kind of roadmap, if we can say that it's a roadmap. It's the kind of progression on each thing. If something is closer than last week or previous weeks, because last week we already said what you told us in the Spanish Brew, Santi, but we want to know if there's something new or if you can tell us the closest things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think if we give the roadmap like a quick coverage on what is coming next, if we talk about Sage, it is local markets together with RFRs as well. So RFRs are coming back. And then on the Unreal Engine 5 side of things, we're doing some improvements on the multiplayer client. So something like P2P servers, for example, and improvements to maps, new maps, search. But I won't spill the beans too much on that. But you guys, if you've been following, you already know what is coming, basically. But then for Sage, we want to go to Fleet Command as well, of course. Of course, that's super important. And after Fleet Command, probably we get to combat. So that's the roadmap very quickly on the products, the two main products.
Okay, two questions about that. First, you said maps in
Yes.
about the shooter. So
Yes.
several maps, not only one.
There are more maps coming, yes.
At the same time.
Alpha.
There are more maps coming. That's
Bam.
all.
Okay. First question dodged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and
No,
then
I don't want to get fired. I will go only as far as I can.
yeah, the thing is that this is in English. You are safe in Spanish, but not in
I mean,
English.
you guys already saw new maps. Like in Breakpoint, we had the new map where we had the tournament. That was a complete new map. I don't know if anyone saw the videos. I think some people uploaded them to YouTube. I don't have the links close to me, but probably if you search for it, I think CJ from Rome recorded the final, and you can see the new map there, basically.
Yeah.
So that is one new thing that is coming, of course. We've been working on that, but the environment team has been working hard, so I won't get too much into detail.
Yeah, we saw some things about
From
that
Carlos,
map.
we don't hear you. I saw you speaking, but we don't hear you.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was self-muted. We also had a map that was inside an asteroid, right?
One comment.
Okay. Yes, we did.
Okay, so before we change the subject or we continue with the subject, I don't want to lose what you just said about combat after fleet command. But what kind of combat? Just that. I mean,
That one I get fired if I speak. I just don't
anything,
want to.
anything.
I don't
Because
want to say anything in case things change. there's a lot of planning and scoping right now, so I don't want to say anything. Also, combat is something that needs to be done right. Like if we do combat and combat doesn't work properly, that's a big problem. So it's something that probably needs to be nailed down from the get-go. I think we're probably going to go for community feedback anyways when we have the scope and when we have the chance to test that. But combat is definitely something that, if done poorly, it it can literally ruin the whole game.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I prefer to not comment on this one or get into any details. I also
Yeah.
like internally, so you have my perspective as well. Like I could fish for this information internally, like in the documentation, but I prefer to not know yet, so I don't get confused and I don't share information that I shouldn't or anything like that. Like from our side, it's so hard, and I commented this many times. Like you're always having a filter in your head. Like, can I speak about this or should I keep this under wraps? So sometimes it's hard to filter that information. So for us, as a measure, what we take is better to not know some things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the approach that I've been taking with when it comes to combat. I'm letting the team scope that out, build it in the best way possible, or at least craft that in the best way possible. And then when it's needed, when my input or the community input is needed, that's when I prefer to learn it.
Mm.
Um, because if not, like you have to store all the information in two different boxes, things that you can speak of, things that you need to avoid speaking of, and it's so hard to filter that in real time all the time. So yeah,
Yeah.
just
I,
I
Yeah.
derailed a little bit, but just so you guys have the context from our side as well.
yeah, I know that you can't say much about that, and it can, of course, it can change a lot. Even if you say something, it can change a lot. But my question was more toward trying to control expectations. I mean, when we say combat, I think most people might think we are going to get more than what we've really get at the beginning, the first version of combat. So,
Hmm.
in my opinion, I think we should all try to keep expectations low for the first version of combat because that's a complex thing. And also, even if you say after fleet command, maybe it takes a while after fleet command.
Yeah, like it's mostly I think the key thing about this is game design, honestly. Like it's not so much about the implementation, even though that anything that we develop basically on Sage is completely new tech. Like we literally have to build a smart contract for that from scratch. Like there's nothing that we can use most of the time. It's literally bleeding edge technology that we have to do. But I think, yeah, what you're saying, Kepler, is right. Like first things first. Like combat, it's a little bit far away compared to other features that are upcoming. So yeah, don't want to comment a lot also to generate expectations or for people to start getting super excited because we're not that close really in terms of priorities right now.
Yeah, I
Um,
know anti-cheat is a big thing whenever Surge does come online. So, but also you know, whenever Surge does come on, I think uh we've had Dom on our podcast before, but you, Dom, and Jose need to play us live on our podcast whenever it is live.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
we
100%. I'm down to that challenge. Yeah.
nice,
They've been
nice.
practicing.
Awesome.
They've been practicing.
Yeah, we
I
need to
Let's see
bet.
what we
practice too.
reach.
I hope Dom and Jose are practicing as well. I trust them. Jose's Brazilian. Brazilians have Counter Strike flowing on their veins.
And we're gonna bring Brujo into our team because he has had some practice.
Brujo has been practicing. You can't get Brujo, man. Stay.
Yeah, of course we can, and we will.
So the rest of us who are not playing this kind of shooter right now, we're gonna play against you who have access to Surge. I think a little unbalanced, but okay, we can play. We can do it. So after all that, what about local markets? I think this is a big thing for the game. This together with RFRs, which are going to be local too. So what can you tell us the last things that you heard about that?
Or like on in terms of updates on where we are at with that?
Yeah, the progression, if there's any news about it, any changes, anything that you can tell us about it.
I mean, we're pretty close. It's the closest release that we have. We're going to try to ship this as soon as it's ready. And I like it also as well because we're taking taking the right approach, which I think it's just shipping something and being on top and iterating on it. Like, and that's what I like about Sage in general. And what I'm liking because that's kind of coming back with local markets, where we ship something and we get community feedback and we have dedicated resources to iterating on it after as well. So it's something that it's not like we're going to go for the max quality of design possible or anything like that. We are going to try to add the functionality and then go live basically. So it's the closest. I think we are. Again, I won't get into any dates, but I think testing is live already. We're going to be testing heavy, and after that, then we're releasing. So functionality, I think, on chain is already built. So it's the last steps basically until we release them.
So Santi, one question regarding local markets. So for local markets, can we expect like a new UI in the game in the because there's a lot of new data that you guys need to
Yes,
the
the UI
player
is
need
going to be pretty similar. Like you're not going to see any big changes when it comes to the general UI, but yes, you will have local markets UI on the on in Sage basically integrated.
yeah, but yeah, integrated, right? But you
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
need to see all the prices of all the resources in all the star bases. So
Yes, exactly.
that's a lot of data.
Um, that's a lot of data, yes, and I'm sure that tools like EVI are going to incorporate that data and do some good stuff with it. We want to work closer together also with these groups that are really helping the community. So making sure that they have what they need to start already developing on top of our upcoming releases. Definitely trying to work together a lot with them, a lot more. So I think that's important as well. But yeah, going to your question, yes, new UI, not in general, like it's not like we're doing UI improvements in general, but yes, you will have the UI in Sage for local markets.
Yeah, great.
And the CSS is going to be also as the rest of the star bases. I mean, with a local market in game, or is it going to be like right now you take things to the CSS and then you go to the web market?
The CSS in particular, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to have its own market. I can ask, but I don't know if how much sense that really makes since the CSS and the market in general, they're pretty close together, right? Like you just pull it out and trade on the marketplace. So I don't know how much sense that makes, but
Yeah, but
I can
Santi,
ask.
for example, the people that are still playing Score,
Mhm.
they need the R4 to keep refueling the. They need R4. They need ammo. They need fuel, ammo, and toolkits, right? But
Yeah.
they need to come to the web market still. And if people need to sell them, they need to sell by the central space station. So that that system is going to still on.
Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah. I mean, the general market is still on. Yeah.
still on,
And
right?
score, is score going to continue at
Score,
that
score.
moment?
I think Michael said that Score is going to finish only when the rental system arrive.
Yeah, I think that's the latest we heard from Michael.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it makes no sense. Like these people in Score are just a lot of fleets are big fleets that are abandoned basically in Score. So
Yeah.
lots of people are just waiting for a way to earn passive income. And we discussed this in depth in the Spanish brew. Like there was a lot of questions like, why would someone go to rental markets if you can literally set up automation? But there's an education layer. There's also an effort layer that you don't take this into account because you're deep in the weeds with Star Atlas. But there's a lot of people with big capital that like what we're doing, but they don't have the time to learn what is going on. So they will happily rent it to someone who knows how to run the automation or who knows how to really optimize for the game.
I
But
did
not to
my
get
math.
derailed.
I did the math, Santi, and the amount of view up that are still in Score is bigger than the view up that are in labs, in Sage Labs.
Honestly, I wouldn't be
Even
surprised.
with
Like,
even with the 4 Titans in labs, the view up is bigger. Is
That's
86
mhm.
million dollars in view up in
It's
Score.
crazy.
Well, I honestly wouldn't be surprised on that. Like, and from a team perspective, a lot of what happened was that, of course, like we had the big run on 2021 and part of 2022. So a lot of people got interested in Star Atlas during those times. And at that time, we only had Score basically. So a lot of people just bought ships for Score and put it there, and then just forgot about it. Or some people even think they are still really making a difference by being in Score or earning, and when the margins are pretty tight. So and when you can get basically to do any loop on the css and get way more, but that just explains like the some people don't even have the time to think about that. And what we see a lot when we go to events and when I meet people, like I was the other day in Solana Argentina offices, and one guy had a lot of assets from Star Atlas, and he had a lot, like big, really decent fleet, all bought at BWAP. And this guy is on Score, and I'm telling him, listen, dude, like you're not making the right move here. You shouldn't be in Score right now. It doesn't really make much sense. And I tried to sit down with him and explain Sage. And the first thing he said to me was, dude, I can't get in. Like I can't learn all this. I'm trading meme coins. I'm staking Solana. I'm following I don't know Jupiter. Like I can't think of this as well. Don't you have a rental system? And this is a person who really believes in Star Atlas. Like they do believe in Star Atlas. They believe in the future of the project. They are invested in the project, but they don't have the time to learn. So like
Yeah,
going to what you were saying, PG, like I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. There's a lot of people in this situation right now.
That
yeah,
info is in Flipside. If you Flipside, if you go there, that information about the view up in each game, Score. What's the other game? Labs, right? Is Score
Labs.
Labs in Sage Sage Labs, right? We are in Starbase, right? So Labs have like 5 million or something like that. But that is public, if public information.
And I think that's an interesting point there. I think 2025 is going to be the year of passive income in the sense that with the tools that the team is going to release, plus the third party development that is going to be, I can see a bunch of options being brought as passive income that is a need for investors that, venture capitals or group of people that bought a bunch of ships and they have some commanders and some capitals and some big amounts of ships and they don't have the time to run them. We and in one of the two guilds that I'm part of in La República, we have two setups like that our members are running for a group of investors. And I
Okay.
think with the rental system and whatever we come up with in the developing outside of that, I know Polaris Fuel is working something like that. I'm sure Labs will have, there's going to be, I'm not Labs, Sly will have other ideas. But I think 2025, 2026, that's going to be brought in because there's a need for it. That a vacuum that was there since Score.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
it's not only that people don't have the time to run the fleets, it's that they don't have the time to create a strategy and to study the game and think and decide, and that's now when we have local markets and RFRs and golden tickets all at the same time. It's
To
gonna be crazy, and if they're lost today, they're gonna be even worse when all that comes. So
Even knowing what you're doing, when you know all the mechanics of the game and you're up to date, it takes a lot of effort to sit down and plan a strategy and stay on top of it and keep updating as the market changes. It's really hard.
yeah, if you need to change the strategy, you have to really take some time and make a lot of calculations, a lot of decisions, and that's today. When local markets are here, it's gonna be amazing and
Another
crazy at the same time. And we have a question from 1602X. Will market V3 come with local markets?
no,
No.
market
Okay.
V3 is later.
Is what?
Question on Fleet Command and
Later.
local markets.
Ah, later. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Santi, is it safe to assume that when Fleet Command does drop this like epic ultimate Stellaris MMO Star Atlas experience, is that going to have local markets and RFR when it drops?
When we drop, I don't know honestly because we will have probably different stages of how we drop Fleet Command. It's not like we're going to just fully drop it available for everyone and to the public. We definitely want to do some testing with the community. And I know that we reach feature parity up to 1 point, but I don't know if we're going to reach feature parity with local markets for the first release of Fleet Command. When we go public, 100% yes, like full feature parity. But
for season
I,
zero,
I
you mean?
I am really inclined to say yes, but like that in any version that we release, yes, it will have it. But I don't want to say yes because I am not 100% sure.
Sure, sure. Yep.
on scholarships, Santi. I know like the club. We're I think we have the most VWAP in score currently, and we have a big wide broad of players. We have extreme gamers who just want to play like a shooter or flight, and they don't want to play Sage because it's not that active. It's kind of almost like a bot idle game almost. But so they want to play the UE5 version, and then we have the investors who you know they have pretty important jobs that they don't have too much time. So we have a wide brand of people. So I do think scholarships are going to be huge for my community, especially a lot of smaller players in the club that are active are going to have large ships. One thing on the scholarships, what do you think it's going to be? What kind of model is it going to be? I don't know if you could say. Is it going to be where like I could rent my ships out to club members, content creators, or is it going to be a big pool where I just put it on the website and someone picks it up? Or am I
I
going to
think
be
it's
hiring, firing, or however it's going to be?
I think it's going to be similar to how the rentals work for Axie, from what I've seen. I don't have a lot of I don't have my eyes on like how exactly this version of the first version of the rentals is going to be, but imagine it as a basically free market where you can put a ship for rent and you will have offers, or you are willing like or you put a price on how long you want it and how much they need to pay. So and vice versa, basically, like another person will put an offer to work on a fleet. So it's like a free market where you will be able to meet people. If you have ships, you will meet people who can work with them, and vice versa. So it's I don't think it's going to be like a pool you can choose from different from offers on like how you want to go with it and who probably. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself.
Yeah.
just how I imagine it being, all a little bit of theory crafting. Um,
That's what
it
I was
will
hoping
also,
for.
yeah, it will also be limited to like the Sage in-game fleets. You know that you have a limit of fleets that you can have, so that's also going to be a limit. And I think rentals will occur, and I asked these questions. Rentals will occur at the star base as well. Like you can rent at the star base. Um, so again, lots of more info going to come soon on this. I don't think we're that far away from rentals. Lots of the on-chain efforts have been done, so I think it's just a matter of implementation. Also, don't expect the first version to be perfect either. We have way more complex programs than any other game. I mean, it's way different, and all the systems need to be adapted to our tech, basically. So I don't expect it either to be perfect in the first release. Definitely, we'll have a lot of feedback and corrections and edits to make. But I do really think that in any way, shape, or form, any rental that we can have is going to really simulate the game itself. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking
Al-
forward to it.
Also on that, do you theory craft that crew are going to be rented or just ships?
I think it's going to be just ships. CNFTs, like ships are SFTs on the tech that we're using, basically. Ships are SFTs and crew is CNFTs. So I'm guessing there's a different set of tech that need to be built. So I don't expect crew to be rented.
I think
But I can
I
ask.
think that we're gonna rent is not ships. We're gonna rent a fleet, and the fleet already have the crew inside. Understand? To create a fleet,
Mhm.
if you imagine five X6, you already need to have the crew inside. So they're gonna rent the fleet, and they cannot disband the fleet.
Well, I think if that's in game, if the rental system is in game, and it's in each starbase, like you have to go to the starbase and see what is available there, then you can have the fleet and the crew crafting. So the fleet is with no crew. So maybe it's not so simple. I don't know. Any info about that?
I'm literally asking the question right now.
No,
Awesome.
I think is Michael already talked that in the foundation room. I
I
don't know
think
if
it
I can
comes with
talk about
crew.
things in the foundation room,
I
but
think it comes with crew. I'm
yeah,
asking right now.
it's a fleet. You rent a
Yeah, it's
It
a
would
fleet.
make
fleet.
sense for
You don't
scholarship.
you don't rent an empty ship. You rent a
Yeah.
fleet. When you create a fleet now in the game, is what you rent. And when you put to create a fleet, you need a crew. So
Yeah.
and then it's going to be a very combinations of fleets now. People can create fleets with small and mediums, and then the renter will pick. One question that I have about this rental system, Santi, that I was a bit worried about. What could you guys have in the system that make, for example, a person like me, the rental system starts at 12 o'clock. I go there and I rent all the ships that are there. I rent all the fleets. Because if the rental system is going to be on the basis of share profits, not on the basis of paying in advance for a fleet, what block me of taking all of them? Or
I
what
think
block another
you need to
whale?
pay you need to pay something in advance, I think.
You need to pay something in advance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
to have some collateral or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I was
Um
thinking that was more like actually the 50% 50% slip of earnings. What that could do is a whale come there in the first day, in the first hour, first minute, and he take all. If he's a player, he put a bot. Doesn't matter how
Hmm.
many fleets because he not going to control one by one. He put them all on Sly, and then he control all the
mm,
all the fleets. I think that people need to think about that before we go live.
it's good theory crafting. It's good
Yeah,
theory
yeah,
crafting.
yeah. We
I
need to
think
think
I
about.
think there's probably a fee before you can get it, and also at the same time, like it's also a free market basically. So what that person will be doing is just probably not getting the best deals and pushing all the prices up for himself as well.
Yeah,
Um, it can happen, yes. But I don't think it's the most convenient.
yeah, but imagine a guy that have enough Solana and have already have a nice system with Sly. It's possible. It doesn't matter the number of fleets that you put on Sly. Yeah, you waste 1 hour or 2 hours configure doing the configuration of everything, but after that, you they are in your
We're also
wallet.
limited to the fleets in game as well.
Yeah, you guys, yes, Star Atlas need to think about all the situations possible.
I think
So
people are going to be able to not rent to some people too. Like, it's not, if you want a certain group of people to rent your ships, you don't want to rent your ships to potentially your enemy when combat comes.
I don't know if you can you have that option, man.
Yeah,
You need to
about
think.
that, in the Spanish brew, Santi, maybe it was not exactly about this topic, but it was related to the market. You said something about a system where we could find or tag or bookmark some wallets, something
Favorites.
like that. Yeah, like favorites or bookmarks, so that you could know this is the DAX wallet. If that applies to the rental system, maybe we could at least know who's the owner of the fleet or things like that.
Yeah. I don't know how the UI looks like for the fleet rentals. I think you can choose price and time of the rental, price and term. I don't know if you can also see who's making that offer.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, what I was mentioning wasn't related to fleet rentals. What we were chatting about was the local markets,
Uh-huh.
because basically where that came from is a lot of people. I think Egonact actually brought that up in
Yep,
the
yep.
chat. So he brought up that basically when local markets come, you want to trade within the guild probably, or you want to trade within your people and the groups that you're playing with. So one feature request that we got was the from Egonact and from many other players as well. If we can make it available in the UI for people to choose a wallet and mark it as favorite, or see which guild that wallet is from, or something like that. So you guys can
Yeah.
differentiate in the UI. Like I'm sure you can also do it manually. Like you can just see like chat in your Discord server and know like what are the wallets you should be trading with. But it will be cool to have it in the UI. Like you can bookmark a wallet as favorite, so you only trade with that wallet.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think
Maybe
that's
build
making
it in the maybe build it in the DAC platform or something later on, or whatever you guys could do with
that
that.
could be cool. I think we can go to, and this is what I was saying internally when I added the feature request. Like we don't need to make it super complicated. Like just have an option to put a favorite in a wallet, and then we move from there. I don't think this is making it in the first local markets version. Again, as I said, like I think the idea here is to just release the functionality with the basic UI, and from there, like we probably iterate. But at the same time, like we're also going to be moving really to fleet command. So a lot of the design efforts are going that way. So it's a little bit of a weird spot in that sense. Like there are some low hanging fruits that we can take, and we will take them. But at the same time, like big design effort is really going into fleet command, because that's where Sage is going. So
Do you know if by any chance any of those contracts are gonna be open source and given to the community to develop third party stuff around those new mechanics?
like local markets.
Yeah, well, the rental part, when all that gets implemented, it's going to create a new economic loop in the game. And we might see some developers trying to do stuff, and it's not the same developing from scratch than getting some tools like you guys have done
Well,
before.
they are already really like if if you want to go and build stuff, like that code is already out. Like you can build the rental program if you have the talent. The issue is it's not an easy program to build, and also I don't know if you're auditing it, but definitely reviewing it. Like it's a dangerous one as well. Like um, I don't know if I would advise sending the ships into a rental program that is fully community built and not reviewed by any, like, either by the team or by any auditor or whatever, because it's risky.
Yeah, I know some
So
people who wouldn't like that. I think you know
exactly, but
who I'm talking about.
But Fly
technically,
already uses many of those permissions when you lend
Yeah,
your ships to your
technically
but
that's
some people don't like Sly either.
how it works. That's how it works basically on the back end. Like I think the on-chain part that is going on is basically the player profile system, where there are different permissions for different wallets. So like the account transfer, like permission, so sending ships out from your wallet is only allowed to your cold wallet or to your main key, and then performing actions in Sage is allowed to the hot wallet you're renting to, basically. Um,
Hmm.
I'm definitely not a technical guy. I try to learn what I can, but I think that's kind of how it's working on the back end.
Makes sense.
And about the rental thing, when I think they are asking, will the owner set the rental fee, the price, or whatever, or how is the price gonna be decided?
I don't really know that part. Um,
Probably the
Okay.
owner, free market. You know, if someone's trying to charge a bigger fee or bigger piece of the pie, probably someone would go somewhere else. So that's what I would imagine. But
Yeah.
Whatever the
Yeah.
interface allows.
Yeah. Especially that.
just
It
like if
depends on,
you,
what they develop and what they can do with that. Yeah.
yeah, just like validators and staking and stuff, people might, you know, so maybe a 70-30 split or whatever, and
I
then
think
whatever
that's
fee.
probably how it will work. Like the owner setting the price, and then
Mm-hmm.
people matching the offer if they think it's a good offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
Santi,
And
guess.
then
Santi, you
on
talk in
go
something
ahead,
that
Peach.
sorry, Santi, you talk in something that is not in all that roadmap that we all know. That's the player profile. Because I have assets in different wallets, and with the player profile arrive, all my, even mainly my polys, will be all under the same player profile.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You can integrate that
yeah,
into
yeah.
the
So the player profile is coming soon too, or is after
I,
Fleet Command?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know
is
that one.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
I don't
And
know.
there's another
Maybe with
question.
Marketplace V3, but I don't know.
Yeah. There's a question here. Like anything new from the infratech standpoint, as these features rich functionality comes along, how are we looking at improving our backend tech
Like infra Starcom.
infrastructure? Yeah, Starcom or whatever in the backend, because all these things are a lot of things and a lot of data to to use and to store and to send and whatever. So any news about the backend, the Starcom or
And there's
whatever?
also an important Solana update coming this month, right?
I mean, I'm definitely not the infra guy, but I know that we recently hired Lou, who is basically our infrastructure engineer. He has deep experience in Solana. He was working in Solana for years, like before joining Star Atlas. And I know that we are developing Marketplace V3 and also Starcom V2. So there's a lot of migration going on the infrastructure side of things. And again, I'm sorry I can't answer all the questions, but I'm definitely not the technical guy. So
No, but that's
You're being
that's
a
great info.
you're being a
That's
good
great info.
sport. We're grilling you pretty hard. We could lighten up a little bit.
Yeah,
no, I mean it's fine.
He's
If I
sweating
can't,
bullets over here. He's sweating
if
bullets.
if I can't comment, I'll just say I'll just say that I can't answer it.
Of
I'm
course,
fine.
but
Okay.
when I'm
Sounds good.
asking a technical thing or anything like that, I am not asking for a technical detailed answer. I'm asking just like that. If you have any news, like that's great news for me. If you hired someone
Yeah, no, no.
like Lou,
There's work. We hired Lou. He even joined the German brew a couple times, I think. Like he speaks German, so he joined the German brew a couple times. Those are places where you can find some alpha always, like language-specific events.
you should teach
Um,
him some Spanish. Teach him, and then we bring it to Spanish brew.
I don't know how common it is for a German to speak Spanish, but we
Yeah.
can try.
So, a lot of German beer is in Mexico, So
We can
I
connect the
think it's
dots.
yeah.
We gotta touch the Chileans.
Santi, I don't know if you know, but lots of Germans from the
Are we
Nazis.
going to talk about the German immigration in Argentina now? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Hey,
about.
I don't know. I love that show, Hunting Hitler. Have you seen that on Amazon Prime?
I haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of clues point to the south of Argentina.
Oh wow, there's temples, there's symbols. It's pretty crazy. There's like relatives. It's pretty
He hasn't seen it, but he has an uncle that.
Dude, not to derail too much the conversation, but one of my friends bought land in the countryside in Argentina to one of a really high-ranking German officer that was hiding there. Like, dude had built a heated swimming pool in the 50s. Like, it was insane in the middle of the countryside in Argentina. So I know what you're talking about. Not to derail the conversation to that side, but yeah.
Yeah, Santi. Now let's talk a bit more in the local markets from the point of view of how the economy is gonna flush now, how people can create new mechanics, new activities, how these local markets can help maybe more the small players. They can have some not advantages because no one can have really advantages, but give more options. The word is options. Give more
Well,
options to the smaller player now.
Well, I think there are a lot of things here to theory craft. I definitely think that local markets is the biggest update to date when it comes to Sage, and when it comes to gameplay itself. The depth that it adds and the different possibilities that it brings to the game is pretty wild. Like we can start by theory crafting, like how this is going to impact the fighting in game, like transporting resources, the different pipelines that there are, how much that can be improved. And one thing that I love that we theory crafted with KeplerNet and Trump Carlos in the Spanish brew is that it would also make it available for smaller fleets to reach further points of the map. Because now with the smaller fleet and the local markets, you can reach star bases that weren't in your reach before because you can buy those resources on those local markets. Maybe they are more expensive because there's transportation costs that you need to take into account. But that's one thing that it opens up. Another thing that it opens up is the arbitraging between different star bases. So like the now having space in your transport fleet can mean that you can think of more options, like not only about the transport pipeline that you have set up, but you can also start thinking about the opportunities that will come up when you're at a certain location at a certain time. So like, and those are just two little things that this update adds. Honestly, like I think we can keep going on
Yeah.
possibilities, opportunities.
Whoever puts biomass and iron on the right side of of the mud territory is going to be rich.
That's an opportunity right there.
And you said that the local markets are planning to go out at the same time of RFRs.
Probably, very likely.
And
Now,
RFRs are gonna be
now,
local also.
now
Local
you need to say the biggest alpha here. Who was the person that created the name of RFRs?
What is wrong with it? What is wrong with it?
It's just difficult
No,
for new people to understand it. Yeah.
Man, that is the worst name for a token, man. Could be anything else, man. RFRs,
Do you have
RFRs.
Like Puri?
suggestions?
Like Puri.
Huh?
We can make it Puri Atlas or something like that.
Wait, was it the same guy? The same guy created Puri and created RFRs? Then we
Maybe.
have a problem.
Actually, maybe. I don't know. Um, but yeah, that's actually a valid point. Like,
Who
yeah,
is
how do you
drink? Who is
know what
drinking?
RFR is?
What type of wine these people are drinking?
These people,
Hey,
and that's coming from PG, you know?
The good one, the good one.
hey, Santi. For ships, I know a couple people were asking a while ago. If your ships are in Stage Starbase, you can't play them in UE5. When these game modes maybe drop, and if there's like something with ships, like racing or dogfights or whatever, are we going to be able to use ships in both locations, or are we going to have certain ships in certain games?
Well, long term, the vision really is that Sage and the UE5 game it's all the same. So these are just different views, different points of experience or points of view for the game. So like imagine you're in Star Atlas, and the first thing you see is like the big map, and you can see your fleets around the galaxy expanse basically, and maybe you zoom in, and that's when you get on the current UE5, and that's how you see your ships basically. You can engage in dogfight, you can do like that's the long-term vision, right? Um, that's where we want to end, and that's where we're going basically with moving to fleet command. These are all the steps in that direction. But short term, of course, those two things are likely to not be connected at first. So going to your question, I think we definitely need to be able to track Sage ownership, like on-chain ownership, even if it's in Sage, so people can use their assets in UE. I think we were tracking it for a while when it was Sage Labs, that you had it in Sage Labs and you could also see them in the UE5 game, if I'm not mistaken. Then when we moved to Starbase, I think you no longer see them. If someone knows, please confirm. I don't know off the top
Something
of
like
my
that,
head.
yeah.
So, yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering all the possibilities with that. Like, will ship rentals, if you rent a ship, are others going to be able to play it in both games and stuff? So it sounds pretty much that's what Star Atlas is trying to do as well. So very cool.
Yeah.
Also, I had one more question. I saw someone say this maybe a week ago or something in one of the chats, and I forgot who said it. With the rising cost of Solana and transactions and the Atlas coin kind of being flatline stagnant right now at the same around the same price, transactions are getting a little heavy. Do you foresee maybe some kind of fix where you only have to sign a transaction if you get something like fuel or anything, or do you think everything will stay by like moving, exiting warp, starting warp? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I think it's something that our team is very aware of. Basically, I think most of the comments that we get, especially from small to mid players, mainly small players, of course, is how hard it gets whenever the network fees spike, and we're kind of at the mercy of that right now. So there are multiple solutions possible for this. The team is already tracking ways to reduce transactions. So like updates that could reduce transactions in certain points. I think that's important. And also, it's important to know the notion that we are on-chain gaming and we believe in on-chain gaming, but it's not that we have to be married to the idea of on-chain gaming. Like we want composability and decentralization, but there is not really a need for everything to be on-chain. Like if we can solve some little pain points that will go a long way for the gameplay experience, without affecting composability and decentralization, we need to take those things. Basically, we need to take those improvements and make them basically. There are many options that can happen for reducing the transaction costs for small players, or at least or for everyone. There are many possibilities. I know that one thing that was teased, an idea that was teased, but it's not really for the automata team to decide, is that the DAO is currently making like I think 4 times the amount of transaction fees basically right now. So people playing Sage are making the DAO money per day that amounts to 4 times the amounts of the transaction fees that are paid. So
Wow.
there is a possibility, if the player base wants, and this is the DAO vote, and I know that this can get spicy really fast. Like, oh, the Tomata team is trying to take funds away from the DAO. What is this? Like we definitely don't want that. Like that would incur a DAO vote. But there's just a possibility, a thing that the DAO could very well pay all the transactions that um, are going on right now in Sage, and still have leftover that goes to treasury, basically.
I think
So it's a
both things would be maybe the solution for me. I mean, if startups can skip or redo some steps, avoiding every step like a transaction, like only doing the necessary steps as a transaction, and then those steps equal an amount of fees that could be paid by the DAO, then that would be amazing, because less fees to pay, but at the
well,
same time,
yeah.
less no fees for new players and things like that. So
It's a system that can become abused also very fast as well. So you have to manage that carefully. Like, um, I wish there was a world in which we could, like, the DAO could vote for it to pay fees for small players and not for like every single player. I don't know. Like, it's a complicated subject. Like, it also even gets a little bit into politics. But
Yeah.
there are solutions that can be made now if we really want that. Also, I think reducing the fees would also lead to increasing activity in the game. We also see like a huge correlation in our numbers on daily actives and fees. Whenever the network fee goes up, daily actives go down, and it's like over 80% correlation. So it's definitely affecting the in-game player base.
Mhm.
So um, one measure
With
that could
with
take
those
that.
we have leaks in the chat.
Hmm?
He's saying, "No way, just use Santi's monthly salary for the fees."
I don't know
with
if you can
those
pay
Everyone
anything.
happy.
You
with
can use
those
my monthly salary for Mac chickens.
They
with
can use
those
my monthly
transactions,
salary from the
will we
console.
lose? Will we lose some features in Evi and stuff if we do get rid of like some of these transactions? I
That is the thing. Like, we don't want to compromise composability and decentralization and the possibility for people to build on top. And that's kind of what we're weighing, right? Like, it's how decentralized you want to be and how gasless you want to be as well. Like, they both kind of come together. So I think we are in a very early stage with the product where I don't think it's also wise to be married to the idea that everything is on the chain and there's no way around it. I think Solana is the chain with the most future when it comes to solving the
yes.
transaction fees. So, and I think that we did a really good bet when it comes to Solana, like building, like Michael and founders deciding to build on Solana in 2020, and when FTX happened and we went to $8, and everybody was leaving, lots of projects left. The only thing that Star Atlas always did was, we are not leaving Solana. We're not even thinking of leaving Solana. We're here to build on Solana, and I think that has proven to be a
Amazing.
good
Yep.
bet. Not to get too derailed. I don't think we want to compromise decentralization for not paying transaction fees, like it's super important that whatever product we build is aligned with the vision of this is going to be ultimately owned by the players. And even if the studio shuts down for any reason, like the player base can literally take this over and keep building in any point of time. Hope that never happens. But so that is the way. Like you don't want to centralize things in servers. Um, and if there are
Yeah.
steps that can be taken in the direction of can we reduce transaction fees or can we reduce that pain point without compromising decentralization, I think steps will be taken into that direction.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
there's got to be a little bit of patience. It's so early, and the game is unbalanced, but we all know the game is unbalanced, and we're limited by the layers that have been introduced. But as more complexity gets added and the smaller players start having more options to overcome those fees and to overcome those barriers, I think it's going to be fine. Because if Axie could make it in its time in Ethereum, we can do anything.
Yeah, I saw Icy comment in the podcast. He said a Solana subscription, but that's kind of like a maybe a good idea, maybe not. I'm not an expert, but maybe like you pay like a monthly subscription for Star Atlas, and it's a limited transactions or something. I'm not
Like,
sure how that would work.
so you pay a subscription and you don't pay fees, or
Yeah.
That would only work in a centralized system, not in a decentralized one.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So
Yeah, the validators wouldn't be so happy, I guess.
yeah.
Another
Another
thing.
option that
Oh,
exists
yeah.
is
Go ahead.
sorry, Kepler.
No, go ahead.
Like I don't know if you guys follow the running ecosystem, but basically what they do is they offer 5 free transactions per day to players. You don't really get to do much in Sage with 5 free transactions, but that's also an option. Like having a certain amount that is free per day for people to operate, and then you start paying the fees. So like there are options. It sucks to be in this position, but I think um, these are problems that have solutions.
It's funny because I was going to say something very, very similar, almost like that, and a kind of amount, a total amount of fees per day or something like that. So small players can be covered, but big fleets maybe not. They have to pay more fees because they are doing a lot more, maybe. So that could be a solution for small players. But anyway, even if the DAO could pay all the transactions for everybody, that would be good for everybody, including the small players. So
Mhm.
I think nobody would complain, or most people won't complain in that scenario, especially if startups can make that balance between not losing composability and at the same time reducing the amount of transactions. Uh, Also, what you said that we talked about in the Startla's Spanish Brew, I think that's going to be key, and we're going to see that with local markets because when small players can go far away from the CSS and establish their activities, their kind of center base or whatever, far away from the CSS, the prices might not need to include the transport from the CSS because maybe when you are far away from the CSS and you have local markets, you get everything from around that starbase where you are. So
Dude,
the
every
price could.
service is going to be its own ecosystem. We're about to see, like, I'm going to be nerding probably on EVI all day, like seeing how each of the starbase evolves, like how the markets, like I'm really looking forward. Like one thing that I really want to see on the chain, and not to get derailed from what you were saying, Kepler, but just to nerd out a little bit on local markets. One thing that I would love to see is like an on-chain visualization of transport pipelines that are being built. So like, for example, like you were saying, I think Agent, you were mentioning that hydrogen is missing in one of the parts of the mod map.
The
Or
right side.
what was it?
right side, it
It's
doesn't have biomass or iron. Yeah.
okay, biomass for iron on the right side. So like I'm very curious to see like who sets up a pipeline, like a transport pipeline that is feeding that side of the map with that. And that's just one example. Like each of the services are going to have their own transport pipelines that someone from the community is going to build to sell resources in that place. It's just it's just insane. Like, and you can, I think you can even make a documentary of how that evolves. Maybe I'm too nerdish on
Santi,
this, but like
Santi,
it's huge.
in the same topic, because what you're saying is true, is 100% true. On top of that, because I had a conversation with Jose in the Portuguese Brew, on top of that, you're gonna have the different recipes for RFRs in each starbase. What's gonna be put that all of that 10 times more crazy busy,
Yeah,
because the trading and the movement of people is going to be so massive that hydrogen is going to be very very important in the game at some point.
yeah.
Even now for me hydrogen is one of the most important resources, and I have a ton of claim stakes at it, and I cannot even, I need to refresh my claim stakes almost even each 6 hours to don't stop playing it. Understand? And
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I get it.
and when this, can you give for the people that are not every day in the foundation room, because not everyone have the foundation room pass. Can you give to the audience a bit of your point of view in these RFRs, in the new RFR system that is coming now with local markets, the different recipes and all of that?
Well, that just plays really into the local markets as well. Like we're going to have different RFRs all across the map, and I don't think every single one of them is going to be available at the same time. So like people will have to move around in order to get those RFRs.
Oh my god,
So
it's
it's
gonna
going
be
to
crazy.
be it's going to be really busy in the map. The layers that we're adding, like with local markets, are insane, are insanely deep, and they mean a lot more than you can initially think. The possibilities that they open. I wish, again, I wish there was an easy way to picture this, but I think it literally serves a documentary on like how this is evolving.
Yeah,
It's a whole new economy formed just with this update. So
and
Empires of
about the
Galia.
different about the different recipes of the RFRs, I'm just thinking right now. Uh, are you guys maybe using it as a test for maybe other things that could have different recipes in different starbases, or is it just closed just to different RFRs and that's it?
I don't know about that. Like that's probably a good question for Chris, maybe. Um, haven't
But
heard of any other recipes going
this
to local
system
markets.
of new RFRs recipes, you guys already tested? So, in from the point of view that any player can play that type of game.
What do you mean?
So imagine a guy that only have one F4 or two F4s, whatever, right? And it's already $5,000 view up. When we say two F4s, it's already a nice view up, right? Um, can he still play the game and be, well, not from the point of view always that be profitable, but he can engage, he can be someone in the game?
I mean, yeah, it depends on what two F4s are most optimized for. I don't know if that's going to be the RFR gameplay loop or what exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, like that's going to be determined probably by the market and the evolution of that gameplay.
Yeah, but even
But
if
that
you're
game
not
is
making
already
the
testing.
RFRs yourself, you still get benefited by the market of RFRs because they will need some,
Yeah,
ingredients that you might
Yeah.
be
resources.
able to mine with your smaller fleet.
That's already happening with golden tickets, for example,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
if
yeah.
some people are crafting golden tickets, big whales, for example, crafting a lot of golden tickets, maybe they are not putting a lot of ingredients for star bases, so less LPs in that faction, so everything impacts the rest of the things, and that's only
Yeah.
between golden tickets and LPs right now. But when we get local markets, RFRs, and so on, it's gonna be so many possibilities, so many combinations that it's gonna change the whole game completely. We're gonna
But
have
that
to reevaluate everything, and then we're
Yes.
gonna have to talk about it and see. Okay,
The
now this
strategies
this
are
is
about
going
to
like
really
this.
change. The strategies
Yeah.
are about to really change, and also um, building supply pipelines while being aligned with your own guild and your own groups, knowing which resources can be provided by who, to where, and why is something that every guild should be thinking right now.
but this is already play tested. This new system. We already have players from the community playing the play tests.
Dude, Sage is a playtest.
Yeah,
Like, I think I don't know what's the specific state of things, but I think if you're not on DevNet testing, it's pretty close. Um, and from there, like, there's that's the hard part. Like, there's the really hard part about Sage and the testing side of things is that you can test on testnet everything you want, but the user behavior that you will get on testnet is never, ever, ever going to be the same that you get on mainnet. Why? Money. There's
Yeah.
no way to simulate how someone, like, how the community is going to really behave when a market moves. You can make all the predictions that you want, but really, like, going from testnet to mainnet is a huge change in the dynamic. Like, everything may work on the blockchain side of things and functionality, and that's going to work also on mainnet. If it works on testnet, usually works on mainnet. But the gameplay and how it works and how people engage with it, you can get 1,000 people on testnet that you're not going to get the same result on main because of the monetary aspect that is seen. Like, that's going to be completely different, and that's something that happened with LP, for example. On paper, LP made a lot of sense. Like, it really did. Then you get into the game itself, and you have a system that it's not really the best, and that we are probably going to be moving away. And where it made sense in order to reward the people playing, but then you can start seeing the exploits that it's impossible to predict on testnet. You cannot predict that on testnet. Then you start seeing how also how you feel playing it when it comes to mainnet, because you feel like whenever you're being successful at being really optimized in the LP system, you take away from your friends. That's the key report that we have seen from the LP system, like from big players. Like, I could be earning a lot more, I could be way more effective, but it feels like I'm competing against my own guys. You cannot simulate that before you have real economic value in place. There's no way you can simulate that. On paper it looked really nice, but then you go to real life and it changes. So that's just one example on that, and I think it's when it comes to LP, it was kind of bad timing also with the feature freeze at the same time, like starting to move things to fleet command, because we could have iterated probably on that and changed things, and it may seem like progress was slow. Um, but now I think that's kind of starting to change, and like from the team we can see like um, the effects. I mean, numbers don't lie. Since LP users daily actives have when like they went down, feedback from the community on it has been pretty vocal on the negative side, and also for the game itself, you don't really want the game to grow at the same time. Like, it's kind of a weird position, because if I invite someone in and they are very effective and they are good at playing the game, they're taking away my LP. So, like, you also are not generating in people's mind any will for them to share um, that this exists and how to get in, because maybe it's subjective and maybe it's not really on top of your brain, but you're thinking about that. Like if I get this guy in, he's going to take away my LP, and it really blocks all the viral effect possibilities as well. So
Yeah, and also about the testnet thing that you were saying, I think it's not only the money that makes a difference, money or not money, but also
mhm.
the amount of people
Yeah, the
that can
amount of
go into
players.
testnet. Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to test some things that need a big amount of people to see the way they develop, to test
yeah,
those things with a very small amount of people compared to that. So some things are statistically different when you test it in a small group
yeah.
and then a big group. You test it in a small group and it works, and then you go to a big group and it gets like very different, very different dynamics and very complicated scenarios. Everything changes. So yeah, it's a whole new level. Changing a little bit from that, what do you think about uh, maybe starting a skill-based game mode where players obtain epic resources, something special, by playing something like, for example, in Unreal Engine 5, and then you get some kind of reward, or also at the same time spending R4 or using assets from Sage in any way.
I think economy-wise, it only makes sense. Um, and I think you can also look at it, and Danny mentioned this a couple times. All our products are interconnected by the chain. Like the chain is really the backend of all our products, and the fact that you can have assets that are um, in multiple games at the same time, like it's pretty epic. And we definitely want to connect everything, including the economy. The That said, like economy wise, it makes a lot of sense, and we want that loop to be like for small players to have a special resource that you get by playing that game, and that it's like really skill based. But the problem with that is that once you add a value in a skill based game, that comes right together with cheating. Like it comes, both things come together. There's no way around it. Add real value in a game, you're going to get cheaters. So it's not really wise to do anything that has real value in Unreal unless there is a really solid anti-cheat system that will prevent that from happening. So I think that's kind of the cards we're playing with. Like, definitely makes a ton of sense from the economy side. Connects the economy in both games, gives the small players and gives talent also the chance to rise as well. Um, but cheating is a problem, and there's no way around it. We can't really do um, things that have a lot of value in UE without making sure that there's no cheating.
Hmm.
Um,
But
so
about spending resources, that is something that it will need to be like that someday. If we connect Unreal Engine 5 with web-based game and it's the same game like in different perspectives, you're gonna have to use the same resources in both perspectives.
long term, yes, long term, yes, and that's again like that's where we're going, and where we're going is a world where both are connected. When there's a good anti-cheat system that prevents that from happening, and where you can put your fleet to do something in the like you do your strategy in Sage fleet command, and you have I don't know the ships mining for 15 minutes. Then you scroll your mouse, get on the first person, and get on a shooter match really quick
Mhm.
for those 15 minutes. So like that's where we're going, and that's where we want to get basically. And even maybe I'm just theory crafting here, but like local um, games, like when I say local, it's in a local starbase. You get a certain resource for playing the UE5 game and killing a certain amount of people that then you can sell at that local starbase where your ships are. I mean, that would be pretty cool. And I think that's kind of where we're going. In reality, the steps that we need to solve in the meantime are things like that, like how do we make sure that people cannot cheat in the UE5 version um, in order for that to happen? And also, if you are going to burn resources, you need to get something in return. Like you're not just going to burn resources for the sake of burning them. Um, and nothing can be done really um, when it comes to that at this point without
Santi,
developing a solid anti-cheat.
I'm very connected also with the sandbox, as you know,
Yeah.
and sandbox for the last 3 years they have the half a season is like 1 month where they really reward the players with a big amount of the sand token,
Hmm.
and after the first year they had to create a QIC system. So know your know your customer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
we saw
KYC.
that,
Yeah.
and we saw that the amount of cheaters reduced 85%. The amount of bots, the amount of they are still cheaters because, but cheaters inside of their own account, they get banned and then they never come back. Understand?
Hmm.
So that is one thing that we need to start talking. So it's not a drama, because in Sandbox was a drama for 1 week, and after that was another day in the game. So everyone
Uh-huh.
was already used to, because Sandbox already have 4 million wallets. Not all are players, so we know that they have a lots of bots. Because where is money? Is people botting? Is people trying to
Yeah.
to scripts, and with that system of QIC, that thing reduced in a big amount, and now we can say that we already know individual players, they are playing, the rewards are getting paid for the best player, not to the bot. And it's evolution is one thing that we cannot talk like was the devil, but it's something that we need to start putting on top of the table, so players get used to the idea that in the future that is one possibility and is not a big drama because this is blockchain and
I
we
don't
don't
know.
need.
And I think it's a valid point. I mean, you're bringing up something that another game did that kind of fixed it, the the cheating. I think you also, I think it was in Foundation Room or somewhere you tagged Michael on this one, and I think he
Yeah, yeah,
replied.
yeah.
And really, the answer that I can give is pretty much the same that he did, which is we
Controversial.
are really full on the ethos of decentralization, and KYCing people is it's never going to be the first option that we take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But
so,
the QIC is in the back end, so I don't see
Yeah,
how
but
that.
it's still a centralized operation.
dude,
Yeah.
I'm not KYCing in a game myself. There's no chance I KYC for a game ever.
Yeah,
Myself, myself.
yeah, okay.
I am a very crypto native person, and I hate KYCing. And I'm sure that a lot of people are of the same opinion as me. So,
So Santi, we have been talking about a lot of different things here. You know, the RFRs, the lending, the player profile, fleet command. There's so many things that need to happen. We also talked the other day about tutorials. There's a lot of important things that need to be in place before season zero. Season
yeah,
zero is going to be open to the public in the Epic Store, and you guys are very aware that it needs to be a game.
yeah,
Even if it's considered a beta, it still need to be something that people come and download and start playing.
yeah.
um I believe that it's a little naive to think we're going to see season zero in 2025. Do you think 2026 is a good point to
Estimate.
try to aim for that?
I think there is a chance. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to be happen before then. But yeah, because at some point we thought that maybe season zero was gonna be the next year, but I don't see that happening because there's too much that is coming out that needs to be also proof tested and balanced and
Yeah.
hmm
adjusted.
I mean, it's also a blessing in disguise. I don't even think in disguise. Like it's a blessing to have a community like we do, where you guys can test together with us. It has the positives and the negatives. Like you get to see all the pivots, you get to see all the missed target dates. So like, and we get a lot of backlash from that. But at the same time, like you guys pretty much have access in real time to what is going on, and you guys have the chance to test the things that are happening, and that's great for an experience. Like if you want to sign up for that, like all of you guys here did and keep doing, and also at the same time for us, it's great because we have the chance to test everything before going public. Like a lot of the times, you get access to a very reduced group of people when you are developing a game or something, and then when you launch, it's a little bit of a question mark. Now we have the chance to really test and iterate based on feedback. So not to get derailed from the specific question that you asked. But yes, I think there's a lot of testing needed in between. We don't want to. I mean, you have seen what happened to other games when they went public and they said they were in a beta state and the game was not there yet. You get a lot of eyes on you when you do that. You get a lot of eyes. And when it comes to gamers, like first impressions, I think really
you
matter.
you build a reputation the moment you launch, and depending how it goes, it's a good or a bad one. But yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do, and it's a very important moment in the history of any game, and we don't want to prematurely go to a beta state or a public state without making sure that we're AAA, without making sure that someone can download the game and know what to do without having to create a ticket in the Discord. Um, and we are a little bit far away from that, really. So yeah,
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that
Okay.
Hey,
requires.
Shadix was saying in the chat, yeah, I wouldn't play Star Atlas anymore if I need to KYC. So
Yeah.
that's the feeling, I guess, of a lot of people. Maybe not all people, but a lot of people. So we have I have two questions here from Yoganact in this case. What are you looking forward to most in the next year?
Mhm. I
That's one.
think I'm definitely looking forward to a point where we have a fleet command, so Sage in UE5, and we not only have the great visuals, but at the same time we have that feature parity. Because when it comes to UE5 and also web, there's not really a lack of speed in the way where you can release updates. Like there's not a huge difference. Like also because of the talent that we have. So I'm looking forward to having a product that looks really good in UE5 where we can ship new updates constantly without having to feature freeze to get to a certain graphic state. We can ship updates constantly and iterate based on feedback, where we have great feedback loops that come from the community, good communication pipelines between community and team, and we can figure out that MVP product that is attractive for people that we can go to public release with. I am really looking forward to that. At the same time, really looking forward for search as well. And these two are the classics. Like most of you guys or most of the people out there will say that they're looking forward to these two. But I think something that is sometimes a little bit overlooked is a combination of things that can happen market wise. Like I think it is really powerful if we manage to do star path in the right way, where we get to reward really the key value contributors and key groups that are bringing people in. And at the same time, we have the fleet rental system as well. You are really putting together a business model that can be exported to a lot of people, a lot of audiences, and a lot of big groups. You're putting together a model where people no longer need big capital to get in. So that means that big groups with capital end users like guilds in Southeast Asia can get people in to the game because of this. And not only that, but when you empower your own audience to be able to reinvest into the game, they do so using your StarPath code at the same time. So imagine how powerful that loop is when it comes to business side of things. I think that is a little bit overlooked usually, and I'm really looking forward to having that system in place where it's not only attractive from a gameplay side of things, but we can get more people in that are smaller, and we can get big groups also as well, and generate this market, this possible market that can happen, um, and this dynamic as well. I think that's a little bit overlooked, and just to not give you the classic answer that is like, oh, I'm looking forward to Fleet Command and Search, which we all do. I think something like that, get into a stage in which we develop something like that, and if we can nail that down in the right way, together with the community as well, it can also be really huge for the ecosystem as a whole when it comes to the game itself.
Yeah. No,
So
that was
that
a great answer.
that's 2025, and in
That's
2024,
just
can we expect anything?
I mean, I am not going to give you a definitive answer on this. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. We still have a couple weeks to go, so I don't fully discard the option that something comes before the end of the year. Um,
Okay, 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 okay.
we are going to have
I-
this is something that I didn't mention before, but we want to do an event probably early December, like before we go on break. We want to do an event that it's either a town hall, I don't know what we name it, either a town hall or a state of Star Atlas type of event where
Christmas
we
party.
want to we want Christmas party, I don't know, however we want to call it, where the objective is basically we don't want to have high expectations from the community. Like we don't want that's one thing that we really learned the lesson, I think, from people saying, we don't want the hype, we really are just looking forward to updates. And every time we host an event, it does feel sometimes that, oh, we cannot really do this event because people will expect that we release something during the event or we give them dates or something like that. So we really want to have an event that gives the people the chance to hear from the developers themselves the state of each product, where it's at, what are the blockers, what are the next things that they're developing, and maybe do it once per quarter or a couple times a year with no expectations. No expectations. If things come, great. If things come, well, maybe they come later. But having a little bit of a closer communication with the community when it comes to details on where things are at, I think it's key. And we're going to try to do that before the end of the year and have an event. Um, I don't want to promise any releases,
Yeah,
but I
cool.
want to promise updates.
But you talking something
Sounds
that
good.
we didn't talk today yet,
Yeah.
and we had a brew the other day about the star path, and
Mhm.
the star path could be something that we're gonna in the right place with the right people, and these guilds that in Asia, in guilds in South America, can really bring a big amount
Yeah.
of players, and
Yeah.
even for the big YouTubers that promote can be a nice reward. And we still didn't know what's going to happen, right? Because for example, I'm going to release another project, and it's going to be in the massive marketplace, maybe one of the biggest marketplace in the world. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to use my old start path. Why not? I'm using everywhere in Twitter, whatever. So, and then I didn't put any. I don't have any link. But are you guys going to release soon any other start path, or is in standby?
We're still scoping that out together with engineering, like how much of an engineering effort it takes to redo it. Most of the tech comes from the bottling side, so we also need to talk to them. But I think we're landing in a model which is we gate it to key contributors that meet certain criteria. So like we probably what is on top of my mind right now is like we probably get it to organic creators that keep people updated in Star Atlas and educated, external creators that cover Star Atlas and can bring people in, internal guilds who are active in the community and have active players and they have a treasury and they can get people in as well, and external guilds like you're mentioning PG that can bring new people in, and that can educate people on Star Atlas. I think that those are like the four key groups that we want to go for and gate it to, and make it less of a um, discount system and more of a referral program. So like you need to prove that you can bring people in and that you can educate people about Star Atlas, like that you can add value. So we kind of need to define that criteria. And also, I think it's valuable to launch with a model that tracks on-chain activity and that tracks that the user that you referred is actually an active user. So what that means is that probably we want the way in which the rewards are vested over time, um, based on the user's activity. So
That's smart.
you only receive a certain amount of rewards if the player um, gets into Sage or does transactions in Sage for 30 days in a row. Um, and you can see how many your referrals are making, but then you only get that after the user really engaged in the game. So I think based on the last brew, based on all the conversations that we had, um, I think that makes for a solid program, and I think that makes for a solid new version. Definitely don't want it to call it Starpath anymore. So that's another thing that we'll need to figure out. What's the name? Um, and but I think briefly speaking, that's what's on my brain and what we've been brainstorming out there and internally as well. Definitely looking for feedback on these, but based on all the conversations that we had and based on previous experience and some intuition and common sense, what I just described could make for a good program and could help bring new people in and reward key contributors.
Yeah,
Cool.
sounds interesting and sounds like a good progress from now, especially. Another
Like,
question that I had from Yoganact is if you could change something about Star Atlas, what would it be? Yoganact is not talking too much, but I ask questions that
Smart
Thank you, sir.
question.
he sent. Yeah, but Yoganact, feel free to ask.
Yeah,
Something
Santi, I guess that not as a gotcha. It's truly just, it could be, I'm just curious what your response is.
I don't know, man. I think
LP.
LP is definitely something that I would like to change. Yes, LP is no doubt something that I would like to change. But I think that there's a lot of improvements that we can do when it comes to updating people on what's going on and having better communications with the
Ma-
community. So
yeah.
that's one thing that I would like to change. I know that the question was maybe a little bit more like big picture or philosophical, but if I go that route, I wouldn't change anything. I think if you zoom out and you see everything that we went through and where we are at right now, we are definitely beating the odds of being here right now and being with the product that we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looks slow on the day to day. I know. I'm there with you guys. I'm there in the trenches with you guys, and it looks slow on the day to day. But if you zoom out, we are actually moving pretty fast. So I yes,
Heck
it
yeah.
would have been great to not have the funds stuck on FTX. I would love to have changed that, but at the same time, I think that made us more resilient and made us a better team overall. Improved internal communications. Um, also ensured that everyone that is here building the division, regardless of what position they're in, they're all into it. Anybody could have quit it there, and we had big talent that could have left and get another job next day, but they decided to stay. So I, for the journey, I, I wouldn't change anything, and I think we're heading in the right direction. I just
And
I want to have more product out. If you want like my honest opinion, I want to have more product out, and I want to make sure that we iterate faster on MVP level. Um, Based on books I read, based on experience I have, like when you're very early in a startup, you want to have an MVP that you have the chance to iterate based on feedback from a small group, and we have that from a core group, and we have that. So I want to. That's why I said like Fleet Command and Sage, and us being able to iterate fast on it as well and test releases and test new stuff. So
Okay, and just
I had a
to make Jonak feel better, I'm gonna make a difficult question just as a continuation. Mm, Forgetting about FTX, the rest of the things, and especially about development, not technical development, but I mean in general, the project. What would you say was the worst mistake or the worst thing? The worst, not only the thing that you would change, you already answered that, but something that you say, okay, this was really a big mistake and we wouldn't do that again.
well, I think it's hard to label things as mistakes because you don't know what you don't know, and there's also the fact that we are literally building stuff that hasn't been done before. Like we don't really have a playbook, dude. Like we are figuring out the playbook as we go with this. And you can see that the playbook is working. I have seen many projects being born after us that have done our roadmap, dude. Like step by step, same roadmap that we had, but they are omitting the mistakes that we did. And that's going to continue being the case. I can't label anything as a big mistake or anything like that. I think it wouldn't be fair to us, to our leadership and to our team to label anything as a mistake because we are literally leading the way, I think, in building this, and can't label something as a mistake when you don't know what you don't know. Like,
Okay, but
yeah.
forgetting about the word, just the thing that is far away from being a success, just call it whatever you want.
yeah. Well, one thing that I will have done differently, but again, I just don't want this to really sound bad, but I would have kept iterating on Sage a little bit more before going for feature parity. Um, I think that's one thing that probably was viable, like, or at least get rid of what doesn't work first. Like, get away from LP before feature freezing. But again, like you don't know what you don't know, and ultimately, the path that we took is what is more aligned with our vision, which is being AAA and having quality graphics. So
Cool.
It's easy
um,
to armchair quarterback everything,
exactly.
after. So I give you guys kudos. A little easier question.
That was a
So
tough one, Kepler. I think that was one of the tough ones.
I make it specially to make
I
these
know
guys feel better and to make them
you
ask
might.
questions. Ask questions.
Oh,
Come on, go
actually,
ahead,
actually,
Solas.
leaks had a good answer in the chat. Like, well, no good answer. He's spicy, of course, but I think one thing that I would have done differently is not scale so fast. Um,
Oh,
not scaling so fast, and I think everyone in the team can probably um, comment on it and probably agree. Like we scaled
Yeah,
very fast, bro. It was a rocket ship, and that
a
broke
lot of people are
processes.
joining. Yeah,
Yeah, that broke
yeah,
processes. That broke communication pipelines, and
yeah.
it
But
was too fast.
these questions, difficult questions, help also with transparency and credibility because, like when you
Absolutely.
say, for example, that LPs are something that didn't work and you know it and you don't like it and all that, I think most people think, oh, now that sounds good. That sounds like real. That sounds like true, you know. So difficult question,
yeah.
but I think it could help when you answer it truly. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Solas.
no,
Sorry.
absolutely. We listen to feedback. We are there listening every day.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, I have a question. I don't know if we want to play Drum Carlos's joke after that question. I don't know if you want to be brave or not, Drum Carlos. If not, I'll go ahead with my question.
I'm into
Uh,
politics now. I can't.
okay, okay.
But
All right.
don't say
Inside
it's his
joke.
question. Just say it.
Okay. Now,
Now is
uh,
his question.
anyways, so guild specialization and business models, I think will be huge in the future, and no guild is big enough to specialize in everything. Still, I don't think. So I think like guilds like bulk that are combat freighting, Polaris fuel, or pretty much like the fuel rats of Star Atlas, and I think all that will be a huge business model. The Red Hand with, refuel, repair, and rescue, and all that. When do you think maybe this next year, or I don't know if you could give not really a time, but like um, maybe like a time frame, maybe next year. When do you think I could, maybe hire Egonaut to freight my stuff back and forth, or oh crap, I'm stuck. Maybe I could hire Drum Carlos to come and refuel or anything like that. I know that's a very hard question,
True.
but
Local markets.
local
I think
markets.
it's really not so much about hiring, but about uh, making business. Like if
The
you can offer
transaction.
Egonact something that he values and he can do something for you that is beneficial for you as well, then you just need to find his wallet on the local market and transact.
Yeah.
Santi, um, I noticed that we have an amazing asset in our ecosystem. Ecosystem, no, it's not an ecosystem. In Star Atlas, that is our website. But
Yes,
we
I know,
should
I know
we
the question
should
as well.
give more utility to that website. And when we're gonna bring this new wave of players with all these new game modes that are coming, like the next game modes for new players from a Real Agent 5, plus the Star Path.
Hmm.
What do you think about creating some school of tutorials from the amazing website that we have, so it don't look like a statue that was beautiful, we did it, and now is in the corner of the room. No one pass 2 seconds in the website. We have the most beautiful website of 2021,
Yeah,
award of 2021 website, and we never give more utility to do the website. And the website compared with Playstar Playstar Atlas is a different website. The Playstar Atlas is the marketplace, have the game, but our website have a bit of everything. Have a bit of the lore, have all that immersive image, and we should have some tutorials there or some initiative that make the user, the new user that comes, because when you arrive to that website, you see something amazing. When you arrive to the Play Star Atlas, it's nice, it's a nice website, but it's not the same impact that our staratlas.com give to you,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm going to say that one of the key efforts that is being led by Francesca right now from a marketing side is a website revamp that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
That's already happening. We're scoping that out right now. We're talking to different parties to build that out, and it will be with a heavy focus on making the website work for us, basically. Like help with the onboarding, help explain the vision, help get people in. So very focused on onboarding. Right now, we have a beautiful website that is a little bit useless when it
Yeah.
comes to onboarding. It it's great because you can instantly tell that this is a high quality project, that it's beautiful, that it has some story, but as an asset, the website is not utilized at all. So those are things that Francesca can probably comment further, but she's leading the way when it comes to the website revamp. making it make sense from a marketing standpoint. And also another thing that we really want to revive is written content and email as well.
And about
So
Nice.
marketing, I see in the chat is asking, do you have plans for external marketing besides creators, like a trailer on TV or billboards or something to reach a wider audience for the public release?
Well,
we're
we
only
still
going
have.
to do that when the game is in a state. Anything we're not doing anything that is not making sense. We have done things in the past that didn't make any sense. There are some examples if you are in the trenches. Um, Facebook ads, and we don't want to do that anymore. Like we want to do things that make sense. We're not going to spend budget that is going to go for game development, for marketing that is going to bring numbers that just drop because the game is not ready to retain them. We're
I
not
can
going to do that.
Cool.
So
But
yeah,
we still have more to scenes of the trailer, right? To come because in the breakpoint was only one, right? And we still have
yeah,
more.
yeah, no, that, yeah. But he said like a TV show or billboard. Like
Yeah,
we're not going to
I would
target
like
mainstream if we're not ready for mainstream. That's where I'm going.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
course.
Yeah.
When you are
maybe
ready,
something like I used to love reading the World of Warcraft books or something. Maybe you guys could put out some kind of lore, and that could be a form of advertising too.
Well, we want to keep doing core.
Yeah,
We want
Sure.
to return to core. So yeah,
Where are my comic books?
I know. Yeah,
where's
I wanted to
Sand?
say that the live stream dev UE5 live streams have been awesome. I know they happen. What is it?
oh,
Once a
you're
month?
enjoying those?
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, these
Nice.
are great. Yeah.
The Chip
yeah,
and Brad building on UE, right? Or which ones do you mean?
Ah, with
There was
Brad,
one just this past week.
Yeah,
Brad and Chipto.
yeah. That's also kind of the vision that we have when it comes to community as well. Like we want to reach a point where no matter what language you speak, no matter what preferences you have or what you're interested in, there is something to do for you in the Stratus community. Like you're interested in the economics and just the economics, then you have the Econ Forum. You're interested in the DAO, you have the DAO events. You're interested in what it goes behind the scenes when it comes to UE development, you have that. You speak German, you have a brew weekly. You speak Spanish, you have a brew every 2 weeks. You speak Filipino, you have a brew every 2 weeks. And I like to give the example of one example that I have given is like I don't know if you guys ever went to like one of these all-inclusive hotels in the Caribbean where the first thing that you see is the animation group that tells you all the activities that are going on and then you can pick and choose whatever you want to join.
Yeah.
um, that's kind of like the entertainment vision that I have for when it comes to the community without overdoing it. Of course, the most important thing is the game. um, but we want people, regardless of the niche they're in, to have something that they can participate in.
So what do you think that is missing out here? What is missing out in the big picture that we already have 3 years in this game, right? Almost the same. Well, imagine when Axie started. The first 3 years of Axie, they all had millions of players. The first 3 years of Sandbox, they had millions of wallets. So what is missing to start Atlas? Even if we have 174,000 people in Discord, that's a big number, but we don't have those people as a player. So what is missing to bring the big number of players?
A fun, repeatable, AAA quality gameplay loop with progress included in it.
yeah,
I think
Yeah,
that's the answer. And you're comparing with two projects that are great in their own niche,
yeah,
but
yeah,
our
yeah,
vision is way bigger. Like
yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
you
I
you
know.
got into this knowing that we were not going to
Yeah, 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 yeah.
have a fully ready product in 3 years. So I think that's what we're missing. I think there's ultimately everything is around the product. Like you can do all the marketing, you can do all the community you want, but the product is the product, and the product speaks by itself. And we don't have the product that is attractive for millions of users yet. Like there's no fooling around with that. It's pretty obvious. So I
But
think
there's
it's
something that
just
people think about that specifically. I think we all
Mhm.
have that in the background of our minds, and Leaks is asking something or saying something regarding that. I mean, it, isn't there a way to make something simpler, a simple step, something smaller than that kind of MVP that you guys are building, but something smaller than that, that could be released not in
yeah,
5 or 7 years, but in 3 years maybe.
yeah. I think simplicity is something that we're missing as well. And it's a valid point from leaks in the chat and what you're saying, Kepler, as well. I think it's a complex vision, but at the same time, you need to have a simpler option for people to engage in. And you saw that with Score in 2021. Like it was so easy to use that a lot of people bought into it. Um, so we need more like simpler stuff.
Yeah, but there's not a simple way to build a metaverse.
There's no
That's
simple way
it. That's the tricky part.
to build a vision. Yeah,
And
Um,
retain the player.
yeah,
okay, so yeah, we've gone longer than usual, but of course we have great Santi with us today, so
thank you.
it was a great chat. Yeah, and I we usually have it like planned for 1 hour, but when we have something good, we can go a little longer, and I think it was pretty good. So I mean, if you have any other question, guys, it's time now.
No,
Otherwise,
you have
we
been
just
a
wrap it
true
up.
champ. You have been a true champ, just taking question after the question after question for 2 hours.
So
I
true.
Thank you
try,
so
bro.
much for always be
Um,
available for the community. You know, I hadn't finished asking you when you had said yes already, so it's always great. And you know, we just want to keep people engaged and be on top of what's going on because we all want this to go great. And with this marketplace, we can't wait to see how we expand this community in the next year.
yeah, thank you, man. And just from my end, like expect a lot of more closeness with the community and having closer loops within team and community, especially um, key contributors. We are now that we actually have marketing, we can go back to the roots, go back to community. And one thing that I really want to focus on for 2025 is developing the ecosystem more. Um, that means closer ties with community groups, closer communication, um, and just getting as close as we can with you guys. I mean, this is a fully community funded project, and we know that, and we want to be close to you. And one thing that I want to say before we close, there was a question like, what am I proud of when it comes to the community team that we didn't get to cover, but I want to cover before I leave. Just want to say that, and any chance to give the guys a shout out is great. And I just want to say that from like internally, externally, maybe you don't realize the burden that it was when the team size was completely reduced. We were 17 people in RevOps, so marketing and community, and we went down to being four, just four, um, and more including
Wow.
the mods also as well. So we had to, the community team had to inherit the workload for 14 or 13 other people, basically. I haven't heard Darwin, Jose, or Dominic complain a single day. They have always given their everything for building this Atlas vision and never complained for a single day. Yes, it was tough what we had to go through, but they never ever thought about leaving or chickened out. And that takes a lot of courage. And that is something that I really admire and I'm really proud of them. Each one of them mods as well. Like they endured a lot more than they should, and they never complained. They kept pushing forward, and I don't think Star Atlas would probably be alive if it wasn't for people like Dom, Jose, and Arthur. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them, and we did a huge effort for the team reduction and the hard times to not be felt in the community, and that means that whatever you guys don't feel, these three guys are feeling, and they're just basically covering you from that a little bit, or even receiving bad emotions from other people, and that can never be understated. So I just wanted to have the chance to give a shout out to these guys. Like, it's been insane what they did and how each one of
Hell
them
yeah.
stepped up and never complained, and the only thing that they cared about was keeping Star Atlas alive, trying to give the product team time and get to the vision that we are all looking for. So I wanted to give them a shout out here.
Awesome.
Yeah, they are
Yeah,
legends.
people
Yeah, and
idolize Harambe. People
everybody in the chat
idolize
are
Harambe and Peanut,
like,
but I idolize you guys.
Thank you.
yeah. People
it
in the
wouldn't be
chat
the
are
same
also
without them.
saying, people are saying, yeah, that you're legends, courage, and some other things from leaks, and then win, all use from everybody. So I think most of us here understand that, especially when you or someone from the team explains that, because we can guess, but hearing it from any of you, but in this case from you, it makes it real. We need to know all those things too, even if we can guess that it was hard. But just like you just said right now, it I felt your emotion when you were saying
Yeah.
that. So it's important too. And okay, big shout out to all of them and all of you, because you are also part of that team. And
Yeah.
i
Yeah.
i, I know that all of the team have gone through a lot of things and hard moments, and I think we all know. So we value that, we understand that, and we are here because we understand that. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
think we would not be here.
Dude,
Not
and
many.
shout out to the community as well. I mean, when we went in that town hall and shared the FTX situation, um, the first thing that happened with the community, of course, I remember some people told us we were idiots, and some others were like, "Dude, I'm not leaving. I'm here to stay, and
How
I
can we
will only
help?
leave. I will only leave if the Discord shuts down." I remember a message. I don't remember the user who posted that, but that summarized everything, and that's literally what kept us going. So shout out to the community as well. I mean, we definitely wouldn't be here without the community. Like,
Yeah,
the community saved Star Atlas.
I
not
I'm
remember
many.
the Spanish raid
I'm
that we got.
I'm in various projects, Santi, since 2000. Because I started investing I cannot say investing, but I started in Web3 games in 2019. Was with Zedrun, the first racing of horses. Was a long time ago, and I'm in a lots of sandbox, Miranda's, Gala, whatever, right? But our community and quality of people and people that work hard and create stuff and have guilds super organized and have people that really improve the game, because
Yeah.
most of the things that even even if the foundation room sometimes looks spicy, but I see that the team is not learning, but they take something. They don't need to take the feedback is there, understand? And the foundation room is very important, even if sometimes looks spicy, but the information is there, and you don't need to take 100%, but you need to take a bit. When you cook something, you a bit of carrot, a bit of
Spice.
potatoes. and a bit of spices, and you do a nice soup. And
Yeah.
when you have a brain, 200 brains talking, and we have lots of smart people in our community, really lots of good professionals, people that are in business the last 20 years,
Yeah.
people, developers. Man, you have a bit of everything, and from different backgrounds, from different countries, you know.
Yeah. No,
And
I agree.
Oh,
yeah, and we work all together from the same for the same vision, and I think it's going to happen. And what's going to happen now? I think it's going to be a snowball. I think we're going to start Atlas from December or January. From December, January, we're going to see the fastest snowball effect in the Web3 gaming. I think the speed that things are going, the the speed that things are going start growing, and the releases are coming one after the other. I think people are going to realize what local markets, and they need to learn what are RFRs in each star base. And then on top, when they learn that, come rental markets, and when they are learning rental markets, will another thing will come after, and then it's going to be the game that we are waiting. Yeah, it's time, because no one built a AAA game in 3 years time. That's for sure. I follow a guy from Star Citizen. They are there with bugs after 12 years.
Yeah.
Understand? They are flying ships, and the avatar fall down from the ships.
Yeah.
Never
The
that
only
never
thing
happened.
yeah.
the only thing is what Leaks was saying before. We can also learn from Star Citizen. And maybe one thing is that they were kind of releasing things even if they were bugged or they were shit. I'm not saying Star Atlas should release bug things, but maybe it, don't expect to have something so perfect and so complete. Maybe a little smaller thing could be enough. And even if people complain, like Star Citizen, people complain about Star Citizen even after 12 years, but they are there and they are getting a lot of money to develop, and people
Yeah.
are excited about it. Sometimes they hate it, sometimes they love it, but so far they continue the journey, and everybody's there, and they come back,
Yep.
and they so well,
It's
okay.
all about the
So
openness. I know what you mean. It's
yeah,
about being open.
yeah. But anyway,
One
thanks.
one thing I need to one thing
Okay,
I
say
wanted to say before I
go.
leave. I just want to say, appreciate you guys on the team. Like, not many projects or and team members come on small podcasts like this, or or uh, YouTube's with us. We already had Dom. Now we're gonna have Jose coming up sometime soon. Maybe talk about a little bit of lore. So make sure everybody subscribes. But I appreciate all the team that's doing, community meetups, everything you guys are doing. You guys are killing it.
Thank you, man. And we not only like joining this and like spending time with the community, but I plan to double down on that. Like, I want to
That's the
double
way.
down on that. Um, work closer with the community, work closer with developers, work closer with event organizers, closer ties to that,
Beautiful.
and most of my efforts leading the community team are going to go into that direction. So for
Awesome.
It's
2025.
Santi.
And I appreciate it also, and maybe even more because uh, I I I can feel that already in the Spanish community and now in English too, and in my channel and in the Spanish brews in the Discord. So yeah, it's awesome to have you and to have the rest of the team sharing things and sharing the progress of the development, the whole thing. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I think people like it also. So keep it up. So
Thank you, man.
thank you very much, Santi, and especially since we are here for a little longer than 2 hours.
In case
That's
I
the
don't
first
see
time.
ya.
Yeah, so
Good
thanks a
afternoon,
lot.
good evening, and good night.
Thanks a lot. It's been a great chat. A lot of good points and thoughts. And thank you everybody. Thank you everybody in the chat, especially all of you who were just active and commenting on things in the chat. We love that. Even if I can't read all the messages, I mean aloud, read them aloud. I read them all in text, and yeah, we hear you. So thanks a lot for being active. That helps us a lot. And thank you, mates here, Solas, PG, Drum Carlos, and Yoganact. Thanks for being here as usual. We are, I think, a great team. What can
True
I say?
group of OGs.
The best
Nobody
team.
can deny that.
What can I say? Yeah, but I think it works, and yeah, it's a good team and a pleasure to work with all of you. So thanks a lot, everybody, and see you next time.
See
Thank
ya.
you guys.
See you, Santi. Bye bye.